Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Sparkles and Blessings. I'm Ducky, and today we are going to do story number 14. This is all in a quest that I've put forward for myself to come up with 500 stories for my friends and grandchildren, just the way my grandfather did when I was a little girl. So today we're going to have story number 14, and I never thought of giving this particular story a title until today because it is such a horrible story, and it's not a wonderful memory for me, but you might find it amusing, and here we go. So it took place in Quebec City. I had been on a 5-day conference for the Canadian Union of Postal Workers, and the year was 2005, and it was the last day. You're packing everything up. You're trying to remember all this ephemera that you're given, and you want to stow it away nicely and not forget this and not forget that. Well, this is what's going through my mind. So finally, I get out of the hotel room, and I've got a little carry-on suitcase with the wheels on it. And so I got outside. I'm heading towards where the buses are supposed to be, and my suitcase gets stuck in the crate, and of course the wheel just flops off. And okay, so I'm traveling with one wheel, and the day gets even better. So okay, so I make it over to the buses, and we are now at the airport. Okay, so we're at the airport, and I'm going towards my gate, and then I remember, oh, my pockets. And walking out of the hotel room, you just tend to grab everything that you see laying around and you put it in your pocket. So it's just change, rubber bands, again, ephemera, Kleenexes, lighters, whatever you've left behind, you just stuff in there. So as I'm entering security, I just kind of put my purse down, and I'm just taking everything out of my pockets and just putting it into one of those lovely pockets, a purple pocket from my purse that was story number 13. Yes, I've taken this with me. It makes a wonderful carry-on purse. So I no longer I don't think I've got my suitcase with me, but I do have the purse. And no sooner do I go into the gate than a security officer comes up to me and says, "Will you come with me, please?" Really? And then it occurred to me, when the place where I stopped to put everything out of my pockets into my purse was just outside of security, and there was a camera beaming at me the whole time. Okay, so I follow him, and I have nothing to hide except my embarrassment. And so he asks me to open up one of the compartments, and I open it up, and yes, there's change in there. There's paper clips. There's maybe a stapler in there. There's a tampon in there. There's all kinds of, like I said, stuff that ends up in your pockets that you just don't want around. And now I've got security watching me, and a lot of my coworkers as I empty out my pockets and my purse pockets. So as he's going through the purse, he finds the broken wheel, and he looks at it, and he holds it up for all the other security guards to look at, and he says something in French, and they all laugh. It gets better and better. Okay, so and then he looks at me and he sees that I'm not really engaged in the laughter, and I said, "What was that about?" And he says something to me in French, and I don't get it. And so he kind of stepped back, and he put something together in his head, and he came up to me, and very gruffly he looked at me and he said, "You picked a fine time to leave me, loose wheel." I don't know why I'm laughing, because I was just horrified, and everybody behind the counters erupts in laughter, and they're shaking their shoulders, and they're having a good laugh over this. And I thought, okay, yeah, you got me, and I will always be grateful to Kenny Rogers for that song. Anyway, that was story number 14. And I'm glad you joined me. We are in Quartzsite today. We are having a really nice day. I'm in my little clamshell tent, just watching the world go by, and life is good for me. So I want to thank you for joining me, and I hope you join me again next time. Ducky out.